The other day I was recording a video about some of the anomalies that were being seen on on the occasion of the protests that are taking place in various cities across the country, and that have, of course, in most cities across the country, have devolved into violent riots, complete with looting and assault of store owners and so forth. But the other night, I broadcast a certain guy on Instagram who was there at the protest a couple of nights ago in Dallas, Texas, as a peaceful protester, just somebody there to take part in a demonstration and to express through free speech his sense of how he feels about things. And while there, he and his friend spotted this stack of bricks that was just somehow magically had just been placed right at the spot of where this demonstration was taking place, right in front of a courthouse building that had a bunch of glass exterior. And he was talking about how he knew this was a setup, and it was clear that it was a setup. And he said, "I see y'all got to do better than this." It was pretty funny, but on the other hand, pretty staggering, I guess, that it's so out in the open. Now, one of you pointed out to me, and in the video, one of the guys makes reference to it being a pallet of bricks, and that's a technical term for when something is brought in by a forklift and placed there, in a particular type of stack that's very neatly organized. That a forklift had to take these bricks to this particular location ahead of this demonstration taking place at this particular location. There have been numerous other sightings of brick pallets just right there, like as if to say, "Hey guys, start throwing bricks, start getting violent. We invite you to do that. It would be good for you to do that." So the video that I showed you, the two guys that were in that video, they saw through it. They knew what was going on. But how many people who show up to these demonstrations / riots, which is what they unfortunately become in a lot of places, how many of them have the same kind of willpower? How many of them have the same kind of intelligence, especially when they're being led by the nose in this kind of mob mentality? Not many. Hence, we have the kind of violent events that we see playing out before us. So the question then becomes, who places these things? Who operates these forklifts? Sees to it that these forklifts take these bricks to these locations where these demonstrators are? Who is behind these operations? Now, Trump a couple of days ago designated Antifa as a terrorist organization. I've heard different people say different things about that. I am quite happy that Antifa has been designated as a terrorist organization, because Antifa are violent scum in my experience, and I welcome anything that correctly identifies them as such. But some have said, are they really a terrorist organization? Stick Sex and Hammer had a video the other day where he's not a fan of the Antifa, but he said, is it really fair to designate them as a terrorist? Is it really helpful to call them terrorists? And so forth. And then there's, of course, a bunch of people who are just like, no, the Antifa don't have any kind of ideology. They don't meet up, and of course that's nonsense. They do. They are organized. They do have an ideology. And they do have an MO, which is to destroy property and hurt and beat up people and foment violence. And so we know that Antifa has some high-level funding. So all I'm saying is just put the pieces together, connect the dots. You've got things happening like these brick pallets suddenly showing up, where these demonstrations that are supposed to be peaceful, that maybe were initially conceived of as being peaceful, suddenly they become violent, or there's some other kind of agitation that takes place, like a mysterious man in a gas mask and seemingly a police uniform shattering the windows of an AutoZone in Minneapolis, which I talked about in that other video and others have talked about. One is left with the inescapable conviction that so much of what's going on right now, so much of the violence that's happening right now, is being orchestrated. It's not just a case of a mob violently losing it on their own. I mean, maybe in some cases it is. I'm not saying that mobs are incapable of doing that. Of course they are. But they're definitely being pushed in that direction. So I think there's probably something prescient in Trump designating the Antifa as a terrorist organization. He probably recognized the score, which is that this is the agitators, the ones who are trying to take peaceful demonstrations and make them violent, the ones whose job it is seemingly to create chaos and havoc and violence, that ends up hurting the demonstrators and their cause as much as anybody else. They end up with their neighborhoods destroyed. They end up with a lot of their businesses, black-owned businesses, some of them. Not that the non-black-owned businesses deserve to be destroyed either, don't get me wrong. But you have this ironic situation where, the neighborhood's burning, and nobody's helped. The neighborhood's burning. People are looting. All kinds of terrible PR for your cause, and it would seem that this is again all being steered and orchestrated in a particular direction. And again, I want to know who drove those forklifts, right? Who paid the people to drive those forklifts? Surely there must be some security. There's security cameras everywhere. There's probably security cameras watching me right now. I'm probably being recorded right now. If there was a real will to find out who was driving those forklifts that left those bricks at these locations in these many cities, they would find them, and then they would bring them in for questioning, and they would ask, why did you do this, and who paid you to do this? Again, if there was a real will to get to the bottom of things, that would happen. I'm afraid that's probably not going to happen, because the people who pull the strings, the people who are really in charge, are also the ones who are behind these operations. Nevertheless, it's useful for us to see what they're up to and take note, and that's what I'm doing. Thanks for watching. My name's Andy Nowicki. Check out my work at altrightnovelist.com, lowstatusnovelist.blogspot.com. See my ongoing piece, The Lockdown is a PSYOP, which is right now posted in 7 parts at this stage at affirmativeright.blogspot.com.